I wore somebody else's diamonds. I wore somebody else's diamonds to a party no one asked me to attend. By 11, 3 men knew my name. By midnight, none of them knew me. The necklace belonged to Mrs. Bellamy, 5th floor, gloves and perfume. She left it sleeping in a velvet box in the ladies' fitting room. I borrowed it for one small evening, not to steal, not to deceive. I only wanted to discover what the world might let me believe. The doorman bowed before the stones. The barroom opened wide. No one asked what bus I traveled or what neighborhood I hid. I wore somebody else's diamonds, and suddenly the room had eyes. Every gentleman grew charming. Every compliment wore a disguise. They toasted beauty, wealth and breeding, while the orchestra played refined. I wore somebody else's diamonds, but every thought beneath them was mine. Whose diamonds? Not hers. All hers. A banker offered me Havana. A judge proposed the south of France. A married man described his loneliness while stepping on my feet during the dance. They spoke as though the world was silver, as though poverty lacked good taste. I smiled above my borrowed necklace and watched expensive manners go to waste. I wore somebody else's diamonds, and suddenly the room had eyes. Every gentleman grew charming. Every compliment wore a disguise. They toasted beauty, wealth and breeding, while the orchestra played refined. I wore somebody else's diamonds, but every thought beneath them was mine. Then one man asked me plainly, "What do you own?" I said, "My timing." At 12:15 I left the ballroom before the borrowed glitter cooled. The banker kissed my gloved hand gently, still convinced that he had ruled. I crossed the servants' entrance smiling, put my work shoes on outside. The stones went back to Mrs. Bellamy. The evening remained mine. I wore somebody else's diamonds, but I never borrowed grace. The jewels merely caught the lightning. I supplied the voice and face. Let them worship cut and color. Let them measure, weigh and shine. I wore somebody else's diamonds, but the woman they admired was mine. The necklace went back before sunrise. The confidence did not. Music early else's diamonds. I wore somebody else's diamonds. I wore somebody else's diamonds. I wore somebody else's diamonds to a party no one asked me to attend. By 11, 3 men knew my name. By midnight, none of them knew me. The necklace belonged to Mrs. Bellamy. 5th floor gloves and perfume. She left it sleeping in a velvet box in the ladies' fitting room. I borrowed it for one small evening, not to steal, not to deceive. I only wanted to discover what the world might let me believe. The doorman bowed before the stones. The ballroom opened wide. No one asked what bus I traveled or what neighborhood I hit. I wore somebody else's diamonds, and suddenly the room had eyes. Every gentleman grew charming. Every compliment wore a disguise. They toasted beauty, wealth, and breeding, while the orchestra played refined. I wore somebody else's diamonds, but every thought beneath them was mine. A banker offered me Havana. A judge proposed the south of France. A married man described his loneliness while stepping on my feet during the dance. They spoke as though the world were silver, as though poverty lacked good taste. I smiled above my borrowed necklace and watched expensive manners go to waste. I wore somebody else's diamonds, and suddenly the room had eyes. Every gentleman grew charming. Every compliment wore a disguise. They toasted beauty. The elevator boy wore white gloves and carried 20 floors of secrets. He never repeated one. He took Mrs. Whitmore to the penthouse with a gentleman who was not Mr. Whitmore. He carried roses to apartment 9, then carried wilted roses out the service door. He knew who tipped with folded dollars, who searched their pockets for a dime. He watched respectable men lose their manners between the lobby and the 22nd floor each night. The elevator boy saw everything. Pearls unclasped and promises undone. He watched the saints descend at midnight and the sinners rise before the sun. He knew which marriages were theater, which fortunes rested upon string. The elevator boy said nothing, but the elevator boy saw everything. I met him after my borrowed evening, work shoes hidden in a paper sack. He looked once at the empty necklace case and understood why I had come back. He did not ask if I was guilty. He did not praise my velvet gown. He pressed the button marked employees and let the golden elevator down. The elevator boy saw everything. Pearls unclasped and promises undone. He watched the saints descend at midnight and the sinners rise before the sun. He knew which marriages were theater, which fortunes rested upon string. The elevator boy said nothing, but the elevator boy saw everything. He said, "Miss, rich people travel upward just to hide what follows them." I said, "And poor girls borrow diamonds just to see who bows to whom." At the basement, doors divided the marble world from pipes and steam. He returned the lift to splendor, I returned to folded dream. Years later, when I owned the building, he still worked that polished cage. I gave him keys to every doorway and his name upon the wage. The elevator boy saw everything, every mask and private fall. He knew the people near the ceiling were not higher after all. When I finally reached the top floor, I remembered who had pulled the string. The elevator boy said nothing, but I knew he had seen everything. Some people operate elevators. Some people understand the building. The building on a Tuesday. By Wednesday, the men who once ignored me had learned how to pronounce my name. The auctioneer wore gray suspicion. The bankers occupied the front. They expected some distinguished gentleman, not a woman with a handbag and a point to prove. The chandeliers were wrapped in muslin. The ballroom smelled of dust and rain. Mrs. Bellamy's old department still displayed one headless mannequin. I remembered folding dresses while the customers looked through me. Now every key lay on the table, and the final bit belonged to me. I bought the building on a Tuesday, bought the marble, bought the view, bought the doors that once decided who was welcome passing through. I bought the ballroom and the basement, every mirror, every stair. I had never needed that repair. closed Havana, cleared his throat and praised my sense. He called my purchase quite courageous, as though courage required his consent. The judge who offered southern France asked if I remembered him. I said, your face seems almost familiar. Did you once work near the gentleman's fitting room? Tuesday, bought the marble, bought the view, bought the doors that once decided who was welcome passing through. I bought the ballroom and the basement, every mirror, every stair. I did not buy their old opinion. I had never needed that repair. Classrooms, I made the ballroom music late. I gave the shop girls proper wages, and the elevator boy the keys to every gate. Not every victory needs vengeance, not every crown requires a throne. Sometimes power is a doorway you hold open once you own. Three plain words: this place is mine. I kept the ballroom, kept the basement, kept one velvet necklace case, not to worship borrowed diamonds, just to remember borrowed grace. I bought the building on a Tuesday, let the whole avenue agree. They once decided where I entered. Now the entrance answers me. The diamonds caught the light. I learned to own the room.